It is the beginning, is it not?
It is. Welcome, Theo.
We are appreciative of the opportunity to be of service unto you. You may ask?
Well, Theo, I'd like to start out by asking, what's the most important thing you can tell us about developing deeply connected, fulfilling relationships?
To have a deeply fulfilling relationship on the inner levels of your being, the self-acceptance, soul-centeredness, loving the self, living from that place of authenticity, of being all that you are and all that you can be, speaking the truth of yourself to the world, which is a gift, releasing beliefs about the self of not being lovable or worthy. You may ask?
How would you define the authentic self?
It is the full realization of who you are and expressing yourself in your truth.
What does that feel like? What's it feel like to be authentic?
Comfortable, at peace within. You may ask?
I'd like you to take us a little bit deeper just on the topic of authenticity and being authentic.
You're the author of your own life, are you not? Making decisions and speaking from that truth of yourself. Authenticity. Authorship. Speaking out what your desires are. Not relinquishing your power for acceptance sake.
You've been talking about a new paradigm in relationships, Theo. What is that?
The new paradigm of relationships is preferential, not needy. The old ways of being is being wounded and attracting one who is wounded, with the subconscious thought that if I fix you, you will fix me. That is external seeking of wholeness. But now is a time of that realization that comes from the inner to the outer, that each and every one of you recognizes the divine in you, loving the self and attracting that of its likeness.
What are the keys, Theo, to manifesting the love of your life?
Recognizing what you do want and addressing, are you that? Meaning, do you have all the qualities in you that you seek in another? For in that is the law of attraction for relationship, vibrational match. You may ask?
And how would you define soulmates?
There are many soulmates. We define it as soul family, that you are on the same vibrational frequency. Groups incarnate together to support each other's growth. So in that, there are soulmates.
Is there such a thing, Theo, as young souls and old souls?
Yes. And what that defines is only in the earthly plane for experience as a human. That is how we define an old soul or a younger soul. It is dependent upon their human experience, you see.
Would you say that young souls have a tendency towards being the victim and blaming others?
That and self-centeredness and narcissism. For they have not had enough human experience to understand compassion and the experience itself.
Are there such a thing as soul contracts?
Yes. That is when souls agree to meet and to experience and to share with one another, or to challenge one another and to learn from that. As we stated, groups incarnate together to support each other's growth. That is a contract, isn't it?
Can those contracts be altered, or do they always come to fruition?
They do come to fruition. The length of time that the contract takes can vary.
We've all had the experience, Theo, of being betrayed and perhaps being the betrayer in our lives. How do we heal from betrayal?
It is most often to recognize what the intention behind any betrayal might be. Was it intended to harm, or was it an unconscious act? In some circumstances, betrayal happens when agreements have been made and not kept. Yes? Or lies have been told, untruths, withholds, whatever it might be, how it expresses itself. But it is the intention that is the key behind the action.
What would you say to people, Theo, that are on a spiritual path and are in relationship with partners who are not?
There's a difficulty in communication. For it is like speaking different languages, isn't it? If one is speaking one language and another, and neither knows what the other is talking about, it does not allow for connection. You may ask,
How do we rectify that? How do we share our spirituality and attempt to keep the relationship alive?
it's nothing that can be forced. In the asking, it is given. So if one in the relationship is on a spiritual path and the other does not want to engage or understand or know it, there's no room for communication or conversation or acceptance. However, if one is on a spiritual path and the other has not yet become on that path, but begins to question and to ask and is curious, there can be room for communication, conversation, and learning together. Yes?
Right. You've spoken in the past about sacred separation when we do make that decision. Speak to that, please.
In the old way of being, when there's a separation of relationship, oftentimes it comes in a volatile explosion, emotional explosion, and blame. To make it all right to separate, rather than acknowledging the gifts that each has given the other, and the gift, and that it's just a soul contract that is completed. So one does not make the other one wrong. Yes? Remembering the love. Yes?
Right. We'll conclude this conversation by my asking you, what is love?
A full heart. Each and everyone has an awareness of feeling that experience of full-heartedness, of full acceptance, of passion, of connectedness and attraction. But going beyond the initial attraction, there's a deepening of that sense of acceptance. For ultimately, the love you feel for another is but a reflection of the love you feel for yourself.
Any final thoughts for us on the topic of relationships, Theo?
That is where you learn best, relating to others. Hence the word relationship. God's love unto you.
And unto you, Theo.
Good day.
Good day. Thank you.
Hi, Marcus. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Sheila, welcome back.
Thank you.